Is it time for the Boston Red Sox to move on and trade Mookie Betts? Let's talk about that. No, but seriously, the Mookie Betts Boston Red Sox trade rumors are heating up for what feels like the last 6 months, and now that we are in the 2020 offseason, it feels like every single day it's getting closer and closer to actually happening. So in today's video, I'm going to keep it real simple. We're going to talk about the Mookie Betts trade rumors and give you my opinion on whether or not the Red Sox should trade Mookie Betts, and I'm also going to tell you whether or not the Red Sox will trade him. I'm going to give you my prediction to see if he's going to be a part of that Red Sox team in 2020. If you guys do enjoy this video and you want to see more content like this, maybe, I don't know, the 10 teams that could trade for Mookie Betts, leave a like on it. That's the best way to show your support. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you enjoy the content. If you love baseball, click that sub button, join the team. Get in the comments down below. I'd love to know your guys' opinions. Do the Red Sox trade Mookie Betts? Is it a good idea? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. And make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. I'm very close to 10K followers on there. I want that swipe up. So follow me on Instagram, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. Mookie Betts is a top 10 player in Major League Baseball. I think that's fairly obvious. And prior to this past season, he's probably a guaranteed top 5 guy. He still might even be. Depends who you're talking to. But one thing is certain, at the end of the day, Mookie Betts is a really, really good baseball player, which probably confuses a few of you as to why the Red Sox would even want to trade him in the first place. I mean, the guy's won an MVP. He is one of the better players in the league. He's great in the field, great at the plate, can run. He's a complete player, so why would the Red Sox want to trade him? Well, the Red Sox have a problem, and that problem is the money. The Red Sox have spent a lot of money the last few years. Now, in baseball, of course, there is no salary cap, but there is a luxury tax threshold. And this is essentially a way of having a salary cap because teams who go over this threshold for multiple years end up getting punished pretty hard. In 2017, the Red Sox kept their payroll below the luxury tax threshold, which reset it. It got start over. As soon as you get below it for a year, it resets. The penalty goes away. In 2018, the Red Sox, they spent a lot of money. They completely went over the threshold. I mean, they demolished it. But it was only their first offense of going over it, so the penalties aren't too bad. The threshold in 2018 was $197 million. The Red Sox spent right around $240 million. They clearly passed it. Because of this spending, they were hit with a few taxes. The first tax was 20% on all money spent over $197 million. But since they went over $217 million as well, they got hit with another tax that would charge them 32% on all money spent over $217 million. But then wait, there was another tax, 62.5% on all money spent over $237 million. Overall, they accumulated about $12 million in tax that they had to pay because they went over, but for a first year offense, it's not too bad. 2019 was their second year offense. The threshold was $206 million. The Red Sox went way past it again, with their payroll going from $240 million all the way to $246, anywhere in between there. Since they were second-time offenders, their tax rates went up to 30%, 42%, but they did stay below the third highest threshold. If they did go over that, it would have been a 75% penalty. In total, the team spent an estimated $12 million again on tax, and here's where the problem lies, and here why Mookie Betts might be traded, because in 2020, the Red Sox are probably on pace to go over that luxury tax threshold, and Mookie Betts is due to get paid a lot of money. The threshold for 2020 looks like it's going to be $208 million, and for every dollar over 208 that the Red Sox spend, they'd be taxed 50%. The next threshold is 62% over $228 million spent, and the third threshold is 95% of any money spent beyond $248 million. So the Red Sox are in danger of spending a lot of money in taxes this year, especially considering that they need a lot of help in the pitching department, specifically starting rotation, and of course the bullpen. They just didn't have a lot of pitching. They need a first baseman. They need some depth. Having Mookie Betts getting paid probably $30 million, that seems what the average projection is for his arbitration is going to be, because, I mean, let's be honest, one of the best players in the league. $30 million for him is actually probably a good deal, but for the Red Sox, it might not make sense, because if they pay him $30 million and all the projections for the upcoming salaries and arbitrations are correct, the Red Sox, before signing any free agents, are going to be right around $220 million. They have to add starting pitching, they have to add bullpen, they have to get a first baseman, they have to get depth too. That's probably another $15 to $20 million that can easily be spent this offseason if the Red Sox want to make a complete team that can actually compete. They are in danger of paying a lot of extra money. Now, of course, the Red Sox owner can afford it. The Red Sox owner, John Henry, is worth, I don't know, like a modest $3 billion. So the guy can afford to pay a little bit more money, but it comes down to, do they want to pay that much money? And it doesn't look like the Red Sox want to keep hitting this luxury tax threshold every single year. They're okay with doing it in some, but when you go into a third year of possibly going over a good amount, that's when it starts to get a little dangerous. So that's the reason why you're hearing Mookie Betts' name in the trade talks. He costs $30 million. With JD Martinez opting in, it makes it a little more difficult to keep Mookie Betts on salary. And while $30 million is probably a good price for him, the Red Sox could spend that $30 million elsewhere and not be killed by the luxury tax threshold. So now what we have to talk about is whether or not Mookie Betts is worth that $30 million, whether or not his production, his performance will be worth more to the Boston Red Sox than to spend that $30 million elsewhere. So let's take a look at Mookie Betts' numbers, see what he's been doing for this team and what his value is. Since 2016, Mookie Betts has been one of the top players in the league, won the MVP in 2018, second in 2016, and sixth in 2017. He averages right around 25 to 30 home runs a year, 90 to 100 RBIs, 40 plus doubles. He's going to get you close to 200 hits, score 100 plus runs. He's actually been pretty healthy in the past 4 years. He's averaging about 150 games a season, stealing 30 bags. I mean, this guy has immense value on the offensive side, batting average in the 300s, on base in the high 300s, and a slugging percentage in the 500s. So his OPS is pretty much hovering right around the high 8s to low 9s. And that's just on the offensive side. Defensively, he is probably the best defensive outfielder in baseball, and without a doubt in right field, he won the Gold Glove in the American League this year. No Gold Gloves doesn't necessarily mean anything, but Mookie Betts defensively is just an absolute stud. Cannon of an arm, great range, covers a lot of ground, makes a lot of really tough plays. He can fly. Mookie Betts is one of the more complete players in the league. I'm not a huge WAR guy. It's not a perfect stat in my opinion like some people treat it, but for the purpose of this conversation, it can be useful. And since 2016, Mookie Betts' average WAR in a season is 8.45, so he's adding 8.5 wins a season to the Boston Red Sox team over someone who'd be a replacement level player. So Mookie Betts has a ton of value. I mean, I'm sure I didn't need to tell you that, but I just wanted to put it in your head that this guy is an absolute stud. But with that $30 million that they'd be spending on him, what could they get? The Red Sox need another starting pitcher. They could spend that money on a cheaper veteran who's had experience, a Tanner Roark, Alex Wood, Jake Odorizzi, maybe even Michael Wacha. Guys who would not cost them too much, maybe $15 to $20 million at most a year. Let's say they spend $20 million on the starting pitching. They then have about $10 million worth in relief pitchers that they could go after. Guys like a Steve Cishek, maybe a Pedro Strop, Dylan Betances, Will Harris. The list goes on and on. There's a lot of relievers on the market this year that they could spend that money on. Not to mention the players that they'd be getting back in a trade for Mookie Betts. Now, of course, the Red Sox would probably want some more major league level players right now, but also at the same time, they could trade Mookie Betts to a team maybe like the Atlanta Braves, or maybe like the Padres, or the White Sox, and they could get a lot of really good young talent back. But that's for another video to talk about where he could possibly end up. So part one, do I think the Red Sox should trade Mookie Betts? I think they should. We've seen the issues that Mookie and the Red Sox have had in the past. They went to arbitration over contract stuff. They didn't want to give him a couple extra $1 million when Mookie was the MVP. Brought him to arbitration over just silly things. There's been a little bit of tension there. Mookie has already come out and said he wants to test the free agent market, so it's not a guarantee you get this guy back. I say you trade Mookie Betts right now. As much as the Red Sox need him, he is a huge part of that team. You've gotten better production out of Xander Bogaerts. You've gotten better production out of Rafael Devers. Those guys stepped up last year and honestly could probably pick up the slack offensively for Mookie Betts, along with Benintendi having a good year. JD Martinez is still hitting. You can get a first baseman to help out there. Starting pitching, relief pitching. The Red Sox can take that money, they can take Mookie Betts' value, and they can get a whole lot back for him without tearing it down, without really getting worse. Honestly, probably could get better. So I think the Red Sox should trade Mookie Betts. Now, another route that the Red Sox could go is trading other players, but I don't know if that's the better choice, and I don't know if people will take some of these other players. I mean, people would love to take Xander Bogaerts. Really friendly team contract. I mean, you're getting an MVP type player for about $20 million a year through 2025 with a vesting option in 2026. I don't know why they would trade away Xander Bogaerts. You have an MVP candidate caliber player under control for at least 5 more years. Why would you trade him just to keep Mookie Betts on the hopes that you can re-sign him even after this season, which it might not happen? Another route was trading JD Martinez, which yes, it could work, but who's really going to be trading for JD Martinez? A big contract on a DH. Don't see someone trading for him, or at least not trading something that you would really want back. The issue really comes down to David Price and Nathan Eovaldi, who are getting paid so much money. David Price is making $32 million a year for the next 3 years. That's money that is just way too expensive. Not a great contract in retrospect. I mean, they won a World Series, but man, he is so expensive for a pitcher who's just not Cy Young caliber anymore. Gonna be extremely hard to trade him. Who wants that contract? Who wants David Price? And then as important as Nathan Eovaldi has been to the Boston Red Sox team, you're paying him about $17 million a year for a guy who didn't pitch a lot last year. But at $17 million a year for a guy who has injury concerns, you're spending a lot of money. I mean, $45 million is going to David Price and Nathan Eovaldi alone. Those would be the bigger contracts to move over Mookie Betts, but I don't know anybody who's gonna take those. I don't know what kind of value you're gonna get. You're gonna at least get something for Mookie. Now, will they trade Mookie Betts? I really don't know. I'm leaning towards yes. Shane Bloom was brought in from the Tampa Bay Rays. He knows how to work on a budget. He knows how to get good players at cheap prices. Now, I'm not saying the Red Sox are no longer going to be spending. You're definitely going to see them use some money. But I think Bloom was brought in specifically to help with this budget issue, where in Tampa Bay, he had a payroll of, let's say, $100 million. That was his luxury tax, essentially, for them. With the Red Sox, they're like, hey, actually use the luxury tax. Like, don't go above it, or don't kill us when you go above it. He's shown he can get creative with picking guys on the roster. He's shown that he actually has been a pretty good evaluator of talent with with what he got in Tampa. I think that the Red Sox end up trading Mookie Betts. It seems like it's the smart decision. Like I said, I think they will. I think they should. As much as I want to see Mookie Betts probably in a Red Sox uniform for the rest of his career, like it just felt right. He's such an exciting player, good for the game of baseball. I just don't see it happening. I see the Red Sox moving on, spending that $30 million that he'd probably be worth somewhere else, getting some prospects back, some top prospects, by the way, and I think they move forward. I think we might have seen Mookie Betts play his last game in Boston Red Sox uniform. I would love to know what you guys think about the Mookie Betts trade scenarios, the trade rumors, down in the comment section below. Do you think Mookie Betts gets traded? Do you think they should? I want to hear what you have to say. Give me your thoughts and opinions down below. Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it and you want to see some more of this kind of content on the channel. Subscribe if you're new and you enjoy baseball videos. If you do, click that sub button, join the team. And of course, go follow me on Instagram. I think I'm actually 600 followers away from 10K. I want the swipe up. Follow me, GiraffeNeckMarc. Links in the description. That's gonna wrap up today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate you all. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video right here, as well as this is my most recent upload. So click through those if you have not yet seen them. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all tomorrow for another one. Bye.